Welcome everyone to the Co-Creators Convergence Thursday night Creator Convo. I'm Noel Marshall, and I'm here with my beloved.
Hi, everybody. Bob Warner. Great to be with you all in timeless time. And on another Thursday night, we haven't met all the most amazing people in the world, but one of them who we met in 2020 is with us tonight, Dr. Marty. We're so delighted to spend the evening with you. Our question is the question that Barbara asked us. What is your gift to the shift in humanity? And we have learned by spending time with our sister Marty in the last few years, she has many gifts to the shift in humanity. We're so delighted you're here. Glad everyone is here, including those of you watching this in the archives on the co-creatorsconvergence.com website.
So welcome, Dr. Marty K. Casey.
Oh, my goodness. What a pleasure it is to be with you all, always to see your faces. You all are so fun. If anyone has ever had an opportunity to meet you all in person, they know exactly what I'm talking about. So I can't be with you in person, but being with you on Zoom is just as good. So thank you for having me tonight.
Well, thank you for being here. And we're going to learn a little bit more about, quite a bit more about Marty, because she does so many things. She's so multidimensional in this 3D time. So wow. But there's some new people here. So what I want to do is tell you a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence and then also about the wonderful speakers that we have coming up. So please stand by and I will find that video here. So that is a little bit about the Co-Creators Convergence. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about our guest tonight, Dr. Marty K. Casey. Dr. Marty asserts, hurt people, healed people, heal people. She has set out to support individuals, families, and communities heal with their latest development of UnGUN Institute, focused on disarming trauma in individuals to heal from collective trauma events which plague the Black communities. In addition, Dr. Casey has co-created the Global Observance of Black Sunday, S-O-N Day. We're at the first one, very powerful, all of them. The inaugural event took place August 9, 2020, with more than 100 global networks and 50,000 plus viewers engaged in a 12-hour interactive presentation and discussion focused on implementing strategies and action plans to rebuild and uplift the Black community. It is no wonder that Dr. Casey was chosen for the cover and celebrated as one of the top 25 2020 most influential businesswomen in St. Louis by the St. Louis Business Journal. She has taken the stage in her city, nationally and internationally, playing the role of her lifetime as evidenced by her philanthropy and activism track record. For many years now, Dr. Casey has leveraged her passion of art, combined it with compassion for activism, and in 2014 created Show Me Arts Academy, serving as a founder and artistic director, positively impacting the lives of more than 3,000 kids using the arts to heal. I think you became an activist that year.
Activist.
Activist. Oh, close.
Very close.
Dr. Casey has built a fulfilling and impactful career that traverses entertainment and community service, an anointed singer, gifted actress, writer, producer, and director. No matter what hat she is wearing, her noteworthy goal is pointed, quote, to heal our community, to provide a response and outlet for inbred trauma. So welcome, Dr. Marty. What a honor to have you here.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you so much, Noel. Thank you so much. And thank you for taking the time out to read my backstory, if you will. But what I really want to spend time today is really talking about what we're doing right now and possibly what we may need to do in the future to move us forward. Every time I hear parts of my bio read, there's something that sticks out that was written, and I need to go back and change that. When it says that the work that I do is really for the Black community, I want to correct that right now to say that the work that I've been called to do is for all communities, because what I totally understand and realize is that if there's any individual, any culture, any race that is unhealed, it affects all of us. It's almost like, you know, that other bad C word. The first bad C word was cancer, and then the second bad C word ended up being COVID. But it's just like those words there with COVID. If there was someone that was nearby within the 6 feet distance that was sick, we all ran the risk of getting sick as well. Well, that's how I actually view trauma. When there is someone that is in active trauma, everyone connected to them is also emotionally on that roller coaster ride with them. And so it's important for all of us. Trauma has no race, face, or place. It shows up. And a lot of times we don't even see it coming. But we need to really understand that in the time such as this, we need to be very, very conscious and serious about what can we do to help ourselves and others feel better. Simple word.
That's a
feel
great.
better.
I'm looking forward to this whole 90 minutes we're going to have. And just to let people know, as you can tell, Marty is off to the races. She can cover so many topics. So put your comments, questions in the chat. We will like to save the last like 20, 30 minutes.
Absolutely.
And before I turn over the reins completely to you, how about if we do a centering with Gary Malcolm?
I love Gary.
How would you like that?
I would love that. Gary's one of my dearest friends.
Excellent. Well, this is something he prepared for World Unity Week in 2021, and it's timeless. So hold on, everyone, and let's go there.
As we open this virtual space, let's connect and be present with each other. Let's get to know each other with kindness and gentleness. Let's listen to each other with generosity in our hearts. Let's learn from each other with curiosity and wonder. We are a part of nature. We are a part of Earth. We are a part of life. May we use our time together to add to peace and truth and goodness in the world.
I've
You're
got
right.
to get back into my body, Marty.
Yeah, that's definitely just Sarah's voice alone is so calming, and Gary's playing is just like you said, it's timeless. It's epic.
Absolutely.
He's so gifted. He is so very gifted.
Well, my dear friend, I'm going to turn the magic talking stick over to you. I know that I'm here to serve. I know you have a few pictures that you'll call on me at some point to share. And so I'm going to gracefully bow out now. And I want to just say again, thank you to everyone for coming. I know you're going to enjoy this evening because this woman is just joy unbounded.
Go ahead and show them the picture of me holding the book. We'll start there.
Okay, can
We're
you?
not going to show it very long, but what I really want everyone to see here in this moment, this is really where life began for me. I on those steps when I was in high school. This is my actual high school, and I had an opportunity to go back here. And just recently, this picture was taken by a really good friend of mine, photographer Karen, and we did a photo shoot with Rebecca Now, who's the co-creator of this book with me. And we have 23 authors, and I'll get into what the book is about, but I just want you to just kind of just take in real quick and see these steps. So I'm gonna tell you a little bit of a story about what happened outside on these stairs. All right. So, who am I other than what Noel read about me? Um, when I really get down to the nitty gritty of how did I get to become become a global peace leader? Because my life was everything but that. Um, Peace was far from what I experienced in my life. As a matter of fact, just yesterday, I believe it was, I woke up to an email where I have been nominated to be one of the next evolutionary leaders to become an EL. And I'm so excited about that extraordinary opportunity. But let me get to who I really am. This book, In Her Power, in Her Wisdom. One thing I understand about anyone, not just women, but anyone, men and women and children, anybody. If you ever get to a point and place where you have a powerful story, um, if you've made it to the other side, then you should have some wisdom. And if you do have some wisdom about whatever it is that you've been through, understand that life in general is not for you. Life is really, we're the example of what we can be for someone else. So if I've gone through something and then I can share my wisdom with someone else that help the road be a little bit easier for them, now that's us really living life. We call that at UnGUN Institute, the company that I own, living in the green. When you're able to just pass that knowledge back to someone and make things a little bit easier for someone along the way. Well, I believe that I was pretty much, as my chapter puts it, I'm going to show you my chapter here, born in purpose. I believe that I was born in purpose. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, I was raised by my mother and my father in my earlier years, up until I was about 8 years old. I was in the household with them, along with my brother, who's 2.5 years older than me. Shout out to my brother. Yay, yay. The two of us, the Casey kids, growing up in the household. And man, we had a lot of fun, and it was a lot of love. But there also was a lot of chaos, and there was a lot of disappointment, and there was a lot of brokenness. There was a lot of things that was going on emotionally. And I believe that why I say I was born in my purpose, because had it not been for the path that I had to experience back then, I don't believe that I would successfully be doing the work that I do today. So sometimes when we're going through things, we're like, why me? Why not you? Because the parts that you want to throw away really probably are the best parts of your life that's going to add value as to how you gain that wisdom. And what do you do with it? I've learned early on that you can take those bad things and you can kind of make it to become something else. Put it in a book. I do a one-woman show about my life, and I play 7 characters. I played my great-great-grandmother, my great-grandmother, my grandmother, my mother, my brother, my daughter, and myself, right? And what I'm talking about is all of that trauma that sometimes gets passed down generation to generation. And how do you disarm that? How do you say, you know what? It stops with me. I'm going to change the trajectory of our life, of what's getting passed down through our bloodline, and I am going to stop it right now. Well, that's what I was able to do. And then I started teaching my family how to do it as well. And so now I've written a one-woman show to perform that so I can show others how to do it too. So life is what you make it. When they say you get lemons, they say make lemonade. Well, to me, I'm gonna make a lemon pie. I love a lemon pie. So whatever it is that you want to do, you can do it. And don't allow anyone to tell you that you can't, because no one knows how you feel. You own your feelings. And when you are empowered to know that, when you can at least accept that, the idea of nobody knows how you feel. Well, if you don't know how I feel, then you don't know what I need to do to create that next thing so that I can make it through this situation. And you have the power to do that. So that's the first little nugget I want to throw out there. So let's go back to the book. In her power, in her wisdom. This isn't just me. I just have one chapter. I happen to have the first chapter in the book, but this book is compiled of 23 fabulous authors in this book who have all gone through something, made it through the other side, and they are dropping these pearls, if you will, of nuggets of helping others to get through it. And don't think that this book is just for women because it's all women telling their story. No, this book is for anyone going through anything, because whatever it is we went through, it wasn't just involving women. It was involving some of our family members. It was involving, other individuals in our lives. So it can help anyone. And I also been telling men, have you ever been in a situation where your wife is crying on your shoulder and you just don't know what to say to her? Well, I got a plan for you. Purchase this book, and the next time you don't have the words, you tell her, I'm here for you, honey, but I may not get this right and really truly understand what you're dealing with. But I believe somewhere in this book, these 20, Dr. Marty promised that something's in here that might can help you. So you might want to pick this up. But this became a #1 bestseller, looked like overnight, probably within the first 2 or 3 days of it dropping. It became #1 nationally, and then it went #1 internationally. Well, I have to thank my tribe for that, because I went into our sessions and I was like, hey, you guys, we got this book and it's going #1, and we wanted to go #1 internationally too. So help us out. So everybody jumped in and helped to purchase a copy of that book, and I'm glad about that. So thank you if you happen to be one of those individuals. Now, let me tell you a little bit about my story. I'm going to read the first 2 small paragraphs here. Thinking back as a little girl playing alone in my bedroom with my Barbie dolls, if anyone had witnessed my creative play, they would have been alarmed to discover that something was deeply, hurting inside of me, causing a great deal of emotional pain. See, I never played with my dolls lovingly. They were always in some sort of conflict or argument. In my mind, my male doll, Ken, and my female doll, Barbie, didn't love each other. I never played with them getting along. The sad part was that I pulled these emotions from a real place. I was witnessing domestic violence in my home. This caused fear to stick in my subconscious. However, through creative play, I was mentally able to practice solving problems of violence quickly, just like I do today with clients in my company, UnGUN Institute. This type of play stimulated me and temporarily numbed feelings of my emotional pain while pushing my brain into high critical creative thinking mode to keep me safe. This is how the arts saved my life. I became a professional actress. I think by the time I was 25 years old. I've been singing professionally since I was 19 because my great grandmother taught me the power of singing gospel songs and how it really could help to elevate my spirit no matter what it is that I'm dealing with. It if I just had a song that I could hum or one that I could sing out loud, it could shift my emotions and take me to a higher energy place. Because when you're singing from the heart and the spirit, and as those words begin to travel to your brain, it makes you think about what it is that you believe can happen. That's where that faith is inside of you. And then the mind tells the body what to do. So if I'm feeling sad and I'm feeling low, if I can just travel my spirit to my brain, to my body, I can pull myself out of that low place. And my great grandmother taught me this because this is exactly what she had to do at some point in time in her life after she had lost 2 children by the age of 35. One of her children, he was only 2 years old. Now, keep in mind, my great grandmother was born in 1910 and she didn't die until I was about 33. So I had her for a very great deal, a very great part of my life. She was very impactful and inspirational to me. But she lost 2 children by the time she was 33. One of them had gotten a hold of a bottle of bleach and drank it thinking it was milk. And he died in her arms. And then her second son, unfortunately, he was dared to swim across the Mississippi River. We live in St. Louis, Missouri. And his friends had dared him to swim across the Mississippi River because he could swim very well, from what I was told. And by the time he made it to the middle of the waters, a current came and took him under. There was no such thing as trauma, that being a word that was being used back then, but the feelings was the same. See, that's the thing. Feelings, they don't go out of style. We may change the words and how we talk about certain things and what it is that we're dealing with, but the same hurt and pain that my great grandmother experienced when she lost her children back then is the exact same hurt and pain that individuals experience today when they lose their children, no matter how they lose them. It hurts beyond anything any of us can ever imagine. I can't personally say that I've experienced that. However, I've worked with so many people that have. And what I find is that trauma is transferable, and so is healing. If we don't get the help that we need to heal, we pass that same hurt and pain down through our bloodline because it starts to change the DNA and how we react and respond to certain things when individuals are being triggered. My great grandmother didn't have the knowledge to know that she had entered into a place of depression. And when she had entered into depression, like anyone I believe would have under those circumstances, no fault of her own. But when she did, and not being able to seek and get the professional help that she needed as a Black woman in that time and during those times, the closest we came to receiving any type of help was to go to church. That was all that we had culturally. to lean on your neighbors and your village of individuals and family members that you hope cared enough about you to stop by and see what they can do. Well, she was the baby of 19 children. So she had several sisters and brothers, and they were trying to just nurse her back to health. They would crush up crackers in their hands and just put it on her tongue, just trying to get some food to her, and then have her sipping on water, trying to just keep her alive. My great grandmother told me this story, and she says, Marty, I wanted to die. She says the pain was so excruciating, I just couldn't imagine living through it. I wanted to die, and I was trying to get a message to God to just come and get me. And she says, so I remembered a song that I used to sing. Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired. I am weak. I am worn. Those were the words she remembered. And she was hoping that if she could just get that message to God, he'd come and get her. So again, the spirit, what is it that you want? What is it that you're feeling? As the spirit began to send a message to the mind in that memory bank, the mind remembered to tell the body how to sing the song. So what she was thinking actually manifested into her being able to sing out loud when she had not spoken in weeks. The trauma had taken her voice. It had closed her throat chakra and she couldn't talk. But when she was thinking so hard about the song and the lyrics, she sang out loud, Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand. I am tired. I am weak. Oh, so worn. When she began to sing, she sang out loud, and her sisters ran into the room. This is the story my great grandmother told me. She said she had not been able to say anything for weeks. They were so shocked that they began to just surround her and stand her up. And as they stood her up, she got stronger because now the mind is remembering her singing this song in church. She sang her healing back into her own body. And my great grandmother lived to be 93 years old. I say to you, we're born in purpose. And the gifts that I have flowing through me, oh, I know it came through the bloodline. She passed them down to me. I'm a healer today, and I use the arts just like my great grandmother did for herself. I teach others how to heal themselves from the inside out. I teach children how to draw what they can't say. I teach individuals to sing a song when you forget the words of life, but you have a song on your heart that you can just hum and bring it back to your memory to snap you out of what you're feeling in that moment. I teach that. I teach you to take whatever it is you're dealing with, pages from your own journal, and make poetry. I teach you how to take it to the stage like I have and make characters and put on costumes and become these things that you wanted to see, the hero you needed, but you didn't have. I teach you these things because music and the arts saved me, and they saved my great grandmother. And if it did it for me and my family, it can do it for you. I love life. And I've had some scares. Oh my goodness, I can't even begin to tell you how many times I have rushed between life and death. Just recently, upon my travels to Japan, I actually just got back maybe about 3.5 weeks ago. And while we were in Mount Fuji at the May Peace Prevail on Earth Center. You may have seen something similar to this. This is what we call the peace poles. And may peace prevail on earth. These big white peace poles have been planted over 20,000, I believe it is 200,000. I'm not sure about the number. I think 200,000 have been planted all around the world. I even had an opportunity along with Pookie Lee and Karen Hoffman, my two sisters here in St. Louis. We planted one in 2021, I believe it was, in Ferguson. And after what had happened in Ferguson, we wanted a peace pole to be here in St. Louis, and we were able to do that. But I was in Mount Fuji where that began, and I fainted, and I had to be rushed to the hospital. Here I am in Japan, don't speak Japanese, and I'm on my way to the hospital because I couldn't open my eyes. Remember, I told you my grandmother couldn't speak. See, again, trauma has no race, face, or place. And I say that because I didn't know that that's what was happening to my body. It just is something that happened. And in that moment, it shut down. It's a sensory thing. And it begins to shut things down in your body, because something has to, almost like when you got too many lights on and the lights are blinking, well, it's like turn some stuff off. Well, for me, it was my eyes they closed and I couldn't open my eyes. I could hear everybody talking to me. They were throwing water on me. They was putting ice packs on my feet and behind my neck. I could feel and hear all of these things, but I just couldn't respond. I was so tired. I just kept saying, let me rest. Let me rest. See, I was kind of like my great grandmother. I was looking for eternal rest. I believe I was ready. And if I had to go, let me tell you, to go in Mount Fuji and be at the May Peace Prevail on Earth Center, I wasn't even mad about that. I said, at least I'm going to get into the pearly gates because I'm with the right people doing the right thing. And God, I love you. So, so I'm just saying, I was prepared that day if I had to go, but that wasn't my time. The point that I'm making, I couldn't open my eyes and I can hear the people. I can hear my friends, but it sounded like they were in a hallway way down at the end of the hall, way down at the end of the hall. There's a song called Stairway to Heaven. I said, I didn't see no stairs. God knows I don't do stairs, but I was in a hall. I was definitely in a hallway. And I could hear the voice of the Lord right up on me, as if he was talking to me through a cracked door. And the Spirit said, tell the people, stop looking at each other through the natural eye. But I need them to start looking at each other through the heart. The very work that I've been doing, I argue with scientists and I tell them it is feel, think, do. They say, no, everything starts in the brain. The brain has to give the command of what the body's. I get that, but I'm telling you right now, as the way humans are wired, we don't start reacting, responding until we feel it first. We can have thoughts all day long. We live with all kinds of thoughts. That doesn't move us. It's only until we feel it. So it's the feel, think, do method that I've created. And I'm shouting it from the mountaintops. And I think some people are starting to get it now, because I tell them that's exactly what's happening, even with violence, where violence is being perpetrated because of people's feelings getting stuck. The feelings get stuck in the individuals. Every war that has been incited on earth has been incited, no offense, but by men. Women, we might be in the armed services and we may, know how to shoot a gun and do the things that we do or whatever when we in the armed services, but we're not the ones that's calling the wars. And what's interesting, when you go back into ancient times, men were told to suppress their emotions, to never show their emotions. And I share all the time. I said, men learn how to play poker, and women, we play Uno. Oh, we get excited. Draw 4. I mean, we get excited about women, but at least you know how we feel. But men, you have such a poker face. But in the end, you're more emotional than anybody. Because when your emotions get stuck and you're at a place where you think that the answer is harming or hurting someone else because you're hurt, rather than to deal with your emotions, that puts us in a very critical and sad place. And that's where we are today. You know, women couldn't even vote because they said we would be too emotional. Wow. We've come a long way, but we still got a long way to go. We have a long way to go. And what I really love is that where we are right now, where we started is not where we are, and where we are is not, I don't believe, is where we're going to end up. So if you think we're in a critical and a bad place right now, good news, better is coming. Better is coming. Just hold on and sing your way through this. Get up and dance. Do what you need to do. Draw it out. Say it out. Put it out loud. Put it in a poem. Whatever you need to do. But hold on. Hold on to this moment. It's like being in a snow globe and you get all shook up and you're like, oh. But when it stops, the particles fall where they may. And everything is okay. The scenery is back in place. Nothing's broken. We're in a snow globe. And we're probably going to be there even past these elections in America for a long time. I'm not here to tell anybody who to believe in, who to vote for, but I am telling you to go out and express your vote. It's important. It's so important. So many lives was lost. We fought so many times for the opportunity for women to vote, for Blacks to vote, it matters. Our voices matter. When I'm asked to come on platforms like this, I do my best to say yes. Why? Because if somebody believes I have something to say that could possibly help somebody else, I'm showing up. I'm marching in to cast my vote on November 5th like someone invited me to do so. I'm showing up. And I hope you show up too. And I'm going to tell you one of the reasons that I'm so inspired. I'm not a political person at all. I don't even consider myself really even a religious person in that sense. But I'm all about humanity. And I believe if you really all about humanity and you respect the opportunity to be living in a time such as this, then you know you got something to do. You've been called to do something. And it's up to you to take accountability and to get it done. Not only have I been called to do something, I've even had some people call me out. They have given me something to do. I would like to show a picture right now, Noel, of a gentleman that's in a political figure. And I'll tell you the story behind. There he is, Congressman John Lewis. Good trouble. Mr. Good Trouble. 10 years ago, April 9th, 2014, I was an actress who have been on the road traveling all around the globe, you all. I've had opportunities to sing in all over France, all over Germany. I've probably toured around the nation twice with different shows. You could take that down now. I think we pretty much know that I have more hair than Congressman. I think they figured it out by now. Okay. And I usually don't have more hair than most people in the room, but at that particular picture I did. But anyway, in 2014, I was at the top of my career as an actress and performing. I've been in a few movies and different things like that. Now I'm not an A-lister, but I'm gonna tell you the A-lister actors right now, if they have been to any kind of P. Diddy parties, they're in trouble. So I'm glad I never made it to be an A-lister. I'm good being who I am. But I've had opportunities, and as I was traveling around, I was at the top of my career. And I received a phone call from my daughter that says, "Mommy, where are you?" And I said, I'm over in the next state, which is Illinois. I said, I'm in on the east side. I'm shopping. What's going on? She says, "Well, when you get ready to come home, I don't want you to come down West Florissant. Something has happened, and I know they got helicopters and fire trucks, police cars, and FBI agents out. Just all." I said, What didn't happen?" I said, "Well, turn on the news and tell me. It's got to be breaking news if all of that's going on." And she says, "I think an officer, and in her words, she says, I think a cop shot a black boy. And I said, well, that happens every day. That was my response. I said, that happens every day. I said, no, turn on the news and see what else. There's got to be something more to the story than that. The fact that that was even my response tells me that there's something that's been going on way too long that we have just been sweeping it under the rug. But when she turned on the news, it was breaking news, and it stated, and I'm paraphrasing, that 18-year-old boy shot by officer in his name, and it was in real time, and his body was still lying in the streets, and this was literally 3 hours later. He ended up lying in the street for a total of 6 hours, but at that particular time it was 3 hours later, and the body was still in the streets. Huh? Like, what's going on? Why are we doing this? These are humans. What are we doing? When do we get to a point in a place that we just disregard human life to the point that we allow something like this, so disrespectful, so inhumane, to happen, and we're all okay with it? But as long as we get that money shot, we got the cameras going and people are on their lives and it's going to social media and what? And I knew then, I'm the kind of person, if you know me, I'm going to say how I feel. I'm going to, give it to you from the hip, and it's going to be what it is. I try to do it with kindness, but on the same token, we got to get real with this. What's going on? I went home, I changed clothes, and on that day, I went to Ferguson, and I never came out. Because the following year, when Congressman John Lewis came, he was very intentional when he was releasing his documentary, Good Trouble. He chose St. Louis because of what happened in Ferguson to show it here, to debut it here at Washington University. And I received the phone call that said, because it was a documentary. Remember, I told you I had been in some movies. Well, one of the movies I was in a film festival, along with his documentary was in a film festival, and we had won the biggest award for the role, one of the roles that I had played. And so I had the honor, I had gotten a call to say, Dr. Marty, would you be so kind and pick up Congressman John Lewis from the airport, him and his handler, take them to the hotel, escort them to dinner with some of his friends, and then the next day take him for the showing of his movie, and then take him back to the airport 2 days later. I was like, oh my God, well, yeah. And so I had the opportunity to do that. Well, if you know anything about me, I'm not going to just do a little bit of something. We're going to seize this moment. And when I picked him up and I said, as we were talking about Ferguson, why he chose to bring his movie here to show it and what it meant to him, and he hadn't even seen the movie yet. He hasn't seen it all put together, so it's going to be, in real time, a moment for him. And I said, well, since you chose to come to St. Louis to show it because of Ferguson, would you like for me to take you to the grounds of where everything happened? He says, oh my God, I would love that. And so I took him and his handler. I'm driving, he's in the passenger side, and his handler is in the back seat. And when we get out, if you ever get a chance to come to Ferguson, it's not what you've seen on TV. It's not. And I usually take people around and give them a tour and really give them the real background of what was taking place. But in the street where they moved, they actually dug up the pavement. You can still see like a 6x2 block of new concrete put there. And so you know exactly where to stand. And so he stood in that very space. Now, mind you, cars come down this street and they coming really fast. And I'm like, oh my God, if I let something happen to Congressman John Lewis, I mean, yeah. So I was like, oh, I hope he doesn't stand out here long. But he literally stood in that block, concrete block, and he wept. He cried profusely. And I told his handler that I'm a little afraid of the way the cars are coming around. I don't want to disturb him. I didn't take any pictures. I wanted to just really honor and respect emotionally him ungunning. And so his handler went and grabbed him by the elbow, and we got back in the car. And as I was getting ready to pull off, he grabbed my hand on the shift, and he did this, and he says, "I'm sorry." And I said, "Oh, no, it's nothing to apologize for. I just didn't want you to get hit by a car." And he says, "No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm sorry because I thought that when me and Dr. King and others marched across the bridge in Selma, I thought we fixed this. And I see that we did not. We failed you." He says, "Young lady, you take this baton and you continue to carry it across the finish line until it's done." I'm born in purpose. I don't know if he's ever told anybody else that, but I do know he told me. And I do know that I've been told things like that my entire life when my great-grandmother took her last breath and what she told me. When my grandmother took her last breath and what she told me. When I talked to my father before he died the next day, I know what he told me. It's so important for all of us to always know who you are, whose you are, and why you are. And I believe that when you know who you are, whose you are, and why you are, you will never get lost in life. I don't care what's going on. I don't care what your story is. I don't care what you've been called to do. You will never get lost. You'll find your way, even when it feels like there's no way. I'm born in purpose, like all of us are. There's no respect to person. If you wake up every day and you are able to breathe, that means you have life. And if you have life, that means you have something that you're supposed to be doing. That means you're born in purpose too. A lot of people say, "I'm living in my purpose," but I need you to go deeper than that. I need you to know you was born in it. You was born in it. Get the work done. Congressman John Lewis, he got his work done. He got into more good trouble than any of those Congress people sitting there today. And he did it not just because he was a Black man or because he marched with Dr. King. He did it because he was born in purpose. I'm so blessed and so honored to have met him, to have him in my car, to drive him around safely, and to have him pour into me. So it wasn't my time to die on Mount Fuji. But I needed to get another message decoded into my brain. And I needed to be reminded that I still had work to do. And that message was, tell the people, quit looking at each other with eyes judge, but to see each other from the heart. And I got on the bus the next day and I said, "Hey, listen, this is what I've been told yesterday when I fainted and passed out and got rushed to the emergency room and didn't understand anything the doctors were saying. But this is what came away from that. I took one from the team, and I promise you, it's the last time I'm going to that hallway for y'all. And so I need you to get this. I need you to get it. I had the best roommate. Oh my God, Becky looked after me really after that day and night. I couldn't have, I mean, God already knows the answers to things we're still trying to figure out. He knew who to make my roommate. I had the best friends around me, Pookie and Summer Joy. They were rubbing my hands and I couldn't see them, but they were. When I later on somebody had taken a picture, and I'm like, oh, that was Pookie and Summer Joy. And then Deborah Moldo, she became my guardian angel. Deborah went to the hospital with me, and she stayed there the entire time, making sure I was okay. We need good people in our lives. Who do you have around you? Who do you have when you can't do for yourself? They automatically know what to do for you. We keep thinking that everything is attached to a dollar, and I promise you it's not. The most valuable things that we have on earth are truly not anything that has anything to do with a dollar sign in front of it. The most valuable thing that you have on earth is truly your power and your wisdom. What is it that you've been through that you can be wise enough to tell somebody how to get through it? And you're not selfish to the point that you're just going to hold it and keep the story to yourself because you don't want nobody to know you went through that. Huh, that's your value. I'm one of the richest women in the world without money. Because God uses me how he so see fit. And whoever your higher power is, and however you call your higher power in to your being. I'm not here to tell you what to call them. I'm just telling you who I serve. In my knowing who and whose and why I am. If you can't answer that today for yourself, I need you to spend some time inside of yourself. That's why it's in her power, in her power, in her wisdom. You need to answer that. Nobody else can answer that for you. I created UnGUN Institute. I don't know where I am in time. I just feel like I'm just telling you everything about my life. Let me see. Let me check in with Noel, and because I want to then tell you a little bit about what it is that I do today. Breathe for a minute because I've shared some heavy things thus far, and I don't know where I am in time.
Well, you're beautiful, and it's 9 o'clock, so we have another half hour.
Okay.
But we're flexible here. You feel it, and you want to go more. We don't get Dr. Marty every Thursday night. It's we're just so grateful, absolutely grateful that you share your perspective, your experiences, how you inspire all of us, with what you've been through. You have a unique lens that and perspective that, most of us, the vast majority of us, never get to look through. And you're providing that for us. And it's so welcome and so helpful. And you give us so much to reflect on. And I love your born in purpose. You know, yeah, I just listen to you all day. So I'm still I love the singing. The only thing I'm a little regretful, I haven't seen your one woman show, so we'll have to have you back for that. But I could go. I know you have some other things that you want to
Yeah,
share.
I'm gonna continue to share. I just want to be
Yeah.
respectful of time and everyone
Oh,
else's time, but I would like to just kind of shake it up and do something a little bit different right now. If you could take us to gallery view, let's
I
check in
will.
with the people. I kind of feel like Oprah here right now. Let's see what the people want to say. Does anybody have a question or a comment before I move on to the second act? How you feeling? Because, you know, we talk about real things here, right? My great grandmother used to say all the time, the only thing that you have to practice is a lie. When you tell the truth, you just show up and say it. And so I'm so accustomed to just talking and saying what I say, and I speak from truth, but sometimes my truth can be a little heavy. So I just want to make sure everybody's breathing through it because I'm living through it. So I at least need you to breathe through it and just take good care of yourself. If it gets to be too heavy, anything that I do or I say, get up, turn your camera off, go get some water, come back, count to 10. It'll be over with when you get back. I'll be on to something altogether different.
Well, we do have Livy would like to join the
Livy, come on
conversation
in,
here.
sweetie. What would you like to ask?
Well, Dr. Marty, you inspire me so much. And one of the first things I saw was your Black Sunday a couple of years ago. And I was wondering if you would share more about that. That was one of the most moving things I've ever seen, because what I thought was so beautiful about it, I'm I'm a believer in the partnership between the divine feminine and the divine masculine, which I think is part of this new earth that's coming and here. And what I saw you doing so beautifully that Sunday was that there was so much healing going on. And it was so beautiful to see these young men. And, you had them right front and center. They were leading, they were with you. It was so beautiful. And so I was wondering if you would talk a little bit about that, because how did that come about? It's so miraculous what you do. So
Oh,
thank you.
well, wow. Thank you. Thank you for asking. And you all have to forgive me the way that I'm wired. As I go to answer something, sometimes I'm telling you two or three things before I get to what you're really asking me about. So you just kind of got to
It's all right.
stay in the car with me. But my
Like Noel, I can listen to all day. So,
that's so sweet. That is so sweet. Can
yeah.
someone send that email to my husband? Can someone tell him that you all can listen to me on, because he hasn't received that email yet. Listen, when that happened to me in Mount Fuji, my roomie said, Rumi, would you like for me to call your husband? I said, oh no, 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 no. I said, I've survived. Don't. Yeah, so no, but it's so funny. But my husband's father was, I think, number 53 in playing chess in the number one, in the world. He was like number 53 in playing chess. He was a man of very few words, but what looks like we're done talking, so you can lower your hand in 4 seconds. Oh, okay, I was reading what that was saying down there. Okay. So anyway, if you all know anything about the game of chess, it is truly a strategic game of thinking. And he was a mastermind, and he taught my husband how to play. And so one of the things that I've learned about that through the game of chess is not really what we're doing right now, what move you're about to make in this moment, but you got to kind of know the next 2, 3 moves after that. You have to kind of strategically see where it puts you on the board and what they may even be able to do, the opposition, right? And so everything that I do in life is connected like that. So when you asked me to tell you more about Black Sunday, I want you to know that where Black Sunday came from is what I already do, and that is through the one woman show where I play my brother. The name of my show is It's Not a Man's World, is the name of my one woman show. And the reason that it's entitled that is because I grew up in a household with strong women, strong women. I heard about my great-great-grandmother who was born in 1870. I'm born in 1971. So there's 101 years difference between the two of us. But the fact that I even have documents on her is, to me, is priceless. And so hearing about my great-great-grandmother, being raised by my great-grandmother and my grandmother in the home and my mother, and I had an aunt, I had all of these women that was pouring into me, teaching me how to cook, how to speak, how to sing, how to show up, how to dress. My brother didn't have that. It wasn't a man's world. So my brother went outside of the home, outside of the village, looking for someone that looked like him to be able to guide and show him naturally what a man should do. And because culturally, what was happening in the 70s, in the 80s of that time, he didn't find a Congressman John Lewis. He found street men. And he got caught up in the whirlwind of what was happening to a lot of Black men at that particular time. My brother ate the same foods that I ate. My brother had to go to bed the same time I had to go to bed. We got on our knees and we prayed. I still know our little prayer. Now I lay me down to sleep. I pray the Lord my soul to keep. If I should die before I wake, I pray the Lord my soul to take. I still know it. We still know it. He had everything that I had. But the difference between my brother and I is that he didn't have mentors. He didn't have someone he could mimic and mirror. My father and my mother, I told you about the abuse we saw, right? Can you imagine being a young boy? He's 2.5 years older than me. Being a young boy, watching someone that you call daddy, that you're supposed to respect and love, beat on your mom. And as a man, you want to punch his lights out and you can't. You're suppressing what? Those emotions, because men been taught not to be emotional. So he had all of that contained and bodied up in him. So when he went outside and fast forward to being 28 years old out here in the streets doing things that he shouldn't have done or been into, and someone threatened to go around the corner, which is the house we grew up in on Lee in Shreve. My great-grandmother and my great-grandfather owned that home. They were one of the first Blacks to even own a home and live in that neighborhood. So we seen it turn from being a mixed a mixed community, almost all white community, to a mixed community, to you couldn't find a white with a light at that by the time we had gotten to this point. And my brother was told that by this man in the streets, he'll go around the corner and kill up everybody in our home. My brother had to make a very sad choice. Either I allow you to do what you say you're going to do, or I stop you. And my brother chose to stop him, and he took a life on the streets. I ran outside when my brother came in the house with the gun smoking and woke me up out my sleep. I said, "What did you do? What did you do?" And I ran outside, no shoes on, and I ran towards the commotion. And this is all in my one-woman show. My brother had a baby in a pumpkin seat. He was no longer living at the house, but he would come down there because that's where he did all his business, because he knew everybody in the neighborhood. The person whose life he took, my mama went to school with that man's sister. My brother's wife went to school with that man's niece. My brother was friends with that man's son. Usually the violence that's perpetrated in the Black community, we know who we're being violent with, because it's like we're in a funnel. All of the resources and all the money and opportunity is up top. And by the time it gets to the neck of the funnel is where the Black people are, and there's nothing there. We're so tightly, we're fighting to get a crumb. That's why violence is the way that it is. So I tell people all the time, it's time for us to flip the funnel. Get it in the small neck first. Give them something first. So by the time it depletes out, everybody will have something. So when that happened that day and I ran outside to try to save this man's life, I was unsuccessful. And when my brother went away to jail to go and serve his time, 3 years day for day, he only got 3 years because that man had a rap sheet from here to your house. And my brother had never gotten in any trouble prior to. And so because of that, we put our house up. We put everything up just to save my brother's life. My brother went to jail to go do his time, 3 years day for day. He got locked up on the inside, but me and my mother got locked up emotionally on the outside. I missed 3 years of my life just not even wanting to leave the house in case he called. And I poured into my daughter and I poured into my niece. But this is where the story flips. And this is why I do Black Sunday. I told you I'll come around and answer. This is where it flips. Again, I'm going to give you all a quick test. I said earlier, trauma is transferable and what? Who wants to come off and tell me what the other part is? Trauma is transferable and what?
Healing.
And so is healing. His daughter was in a pumpkin seat when that happened. What do you think? Can you imagine how that made her feel? His only child at that time, he only has 2. His son is a son now who has autism, but his daughter is the oldest. What do you think happened in her mind?
Oh, I can't even
Anybody
imagine.
want to take a guess at that? How you think where that put her? It doesn't, and no, there's no judgment, no bad answer. I just want to get you involved. Anybody want to take a
Would she have felt abandoned by her daddy?
So what do you think? She's 29 now. What do you think has happened to her?
Well, go ahead, Nancy.
I was just wondering if she was still looking for a daddy figure. Or does she have a relationship with her dad now?
So their relationship is they working on it. They're working on it. But I want to tell you, because trauma is transferable and so is healing, because I refuse to allow my niece to feel like she was going to have what happened to her father defined her. And what I'm speaking to, I'm a part of, is I don't want to sound like I did this and I'm taking credit for it, but it was the village, how we show up in the village, which what Black Sunday is all about. Be in the village again for the Black boys and men that have been broken. And how can we show up and be that village again? But she is an emergency room trauma doctor, Dr. Taryn Kiera Casey.
Wow.
Helping others to stay alive. When I couldn't save that man's life, she's saving other people's lives.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
She had that village. She had you, and she had your, the tools, and she used them. It's one thing is to know they're there, but that isn't enough. It's being able to internalize it, use it, and do that flip, like you said. But what a beautiful, beautiful, compassionate servant of humanity she must be.
Absolutely. So moving forward, I want to help you all to visualize this. And I think this will help you as well as help you help others.
Mm-hmm.
Look at trauma like a coin. There's 2 sides to every coin. So on the trauma side, here it is, heads up. Woo, what's going on? What's getting put in this head? What's in the head? What's in the head? But flip that coin over to now, what is the story you want to tell? What do you want to tell? You get to choose what goes on the other side of that coin. You get to choose. We can't change what happened. Yeah, that might get embedded here. We remember that. We remember those things. You can't change what happened, but you can flip it over and you can tell another side of it. It doesn't have to end on the story that was told and put in the head. Tell me another side. And that's what I taught my niece. That's what I've taught my daughter. That's what I teach everyone. That's what I'm trying to at least offer to you tonight. And Black Sunday was created for that reason. There's too many Black men that are getting stuck on what's happened to them on this side of what's in their head. And they don't know how to flip it over to tell another side of the story. And so I want to give them a safe space to be able to do that. When you said you saw Black Sunday a couple of years ago, I'm assuming that you saw the one where we actually did a taping of it and we had a male panel, and they were just discussing, and I wanted to be intentional. There was not going to be a woman in the room speaking. You could ask a question, but you was not going to be a part of the conversation. I needed men to talk to men. I needed men to empower men. I needed men to hear from men. And I needed to give them a safe space and a place to do that. And so, because of what I've been doing in the last 5-6 years with Black Sun SON Day, I see our other organizations borrowing from what I've done, and they're now creating organizations around it. Now, there used to be a time when I've been like, well, they're copying off of me. I did that first. And I'm so glad that's not who I am today, because I'm like, every time I see somebody doing something that I've already done, I say, God, thank you for allowing me to be bold enough to create it, to do it, to show them how to get it done. That's all we're here for, to do whatever we need to do to release it so that God can get the glory. Creator gets the glory. It's not about us. It's not about us. Man, I wish some of the things that I say today I had known years ago. I spent so much time, I don't want to say wasted, but I spent a lot of time kind of going over some of the same tests because I wasn't getting that answer right. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that anything that you've been called to do, it's not for you. It's for others. Let them take it, run with it, copy it, redo it, whatever. Who cares? Look, Dolly Parton made one of the best songs in the world, and Whitney Houston remade it, and it became the best. I Will Always Love You. And Dolly said, I wouldn't have wanted anybody else to sing that song other than Whitney, and she sings it better than me. And
You
so
gotta love Dolly.
I love Dolly. Yes.
One
And
of the
so,
best things about our state is Dolly.
wow. Well, she is amazing. I'm telling you. So I'm saying all that to say, release it and let it go. It doesn't belong to you. Whatever you've been called to do, release it and let it go. Let it fly like an eagle. Yeah. Because whatever's for you is for you. But sometimes we get like, oh, because that's when we got that dollar sign in front of it. I noticed that that's usually the motivation. I'm looking at what's going on right now with the, again, not trying to be political, but just what goes on in the election. Every 5 seconds, I'm getting some chip in $1, chip in $5, chip in. I want to type back sometime and say, chip in getting these laws right and protect us better. I want to,
Yeah, really.
because that's what I want them to do. Because it's not about, they can fix what's going on. It has nothing to do with money, but it has everything to do with the heart of humanity.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, that's that. Any more questions? Anybody else?
Okay.
Oh, you're very well. Thank you so much, Livy, for even asking about that. And I know earlier you wanted me to share a little bit about the intention with what happened when I was in Spain in May. We did this big intention circle, and I'll make this story short. But I had been suffering from sciatic nerve in my top right buttocks, if you will, and when we broke off into groups of 8, they were like, okay, whoever's going to be the one that's going to receive the intention, figure out who that is. I jumped right up, was like, oh, can it be me? I've been hurting here and this one lady was like, oh, I wish it was me. I have a lot of pain in both of my hands. And I said, oh, well, it could be you. I can do mine some other time. And someone said, no, Marty, you asked first. You go ahead and be in.
Yeah.
Bad.
Good.
They chose me. But then when I got healed, I was like, whoa, I'm so glad they let it be me. We did that intention, and you guys, in that before we even got to, we were supposed to go to 8 minutes, but I think we only went to about like 6 minutes because we were running out of time. And Lynn McTaggart said, okay, pay attention to your body now and what you're feeling. And I did this. I was like, and the people was like, oh, what's wrong? It didn't work for you? I said, it did. I I don't feel anything. That was in May. I still don't feel anything.
Oh, good.
I still don't feel anything.
That means you received it.
Wonderful.
I received it.
You received it. Wonderful. Oh, Dr.
Feel
Really
Marty.
hard
Feel,
for people that give all the time.
yes. Look, feel,
Yeah.
think, do.
Ooh.
Mhm.
When I changed how I was feeling about it, when I allowed my faith to increase, to receive, to believe that it can happen, I can heal. When I claimed it, when I did
Right.
and set myself up for the position to receive the blessing, it failed.
Right.
It starts with us. It
Right.
starts with us. So we may have to do that one day. We may have to come in here, Noel and Bob, and do an intention. You know, I mean, seriously, I would love to lead that just to see, you know, what we able to do,
Mm.
and if it works on Zoom. I mean, what we have to lose? Come on, we got to try it one day.
Let's do it. What was it?
Yes, you
You're
be
number
sure to
one in
put me on the
January
calendar
2025.
and bring me back, because I have, since I've been back, I have led maybe 2 or 3 circles, and I
Hey.
mean, and yes, when I tell you, they have the same results that I have. They have the same results. And it's unbelievable. It's really unbelievable. So kudos to Lynn and her gifting and her sharing it with the world. And I would love to again lead one for you guys. Um, I want to show that a peace response that I have created after a school shooting here in St. Louis. I was called upon to come into the schools, our largest district, to serve the children. And I'm so glad to see Noreen and Ramel on here because of what I created and what I was able to do here in our own school. I even meet on Zoom to serve Noreen and Ramel in their Peace Cafe. If you're unfamiliar with who they are and what they do, they are remarkable in working with the children every week and providing a safe space. And so what I do here or what I did in St. Louis, you can show that other billboard, if you will, Noel. This
Okay.
is this is a curriculum that was created called Stop, Breathe, Think. After I had been in my company, UnGUN Institute, and you see the word art, A-R-T, in the middle of that U there. The U represents you. The U represents whoever it is we're dealing with in that moment. And the art is the medicine that's inside of you. And then that paintbrush is dropping a tear. Because we want to take your hurt and pain and we want to artistically turn it into something else, just like I have been sharing that we teach and we do, right? So there it is. That's the billboard. That's St. Louis backdrop in the back. You see the arch, the stop, breathe thing. Notice the colors: red, yellow, green. The colors. I'm very intentional about that, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. So we can take that down. Thank you. And so real quick, we went in and we serviced 13 schools, and they gave me the most challenging children at every school that was really dealing with something, anything that had to do with violence. Maybe they got caught with a gun, maybe they got caught doing a robbery, maybe their parents is in jail. They gave me the who's who of the oh my goodness. And it was okay, because you don't need to fix a child that's not broken. If we're going to go in and do the work, we got to go in and do the hard work. And we were able to turn these babies around, and not one child that we serviced that year over our 6-week program, not one child ended up in jail or in the grave.
Wow.
Wow. Oh, Dr. Marty, that is beautiful. Wow.
Amazing.
Yes. And so I'm just very pleased with that. And so even the police departments have contacted me to say that since these billboards been up, because what did I do? After we did this in the classroom, I said, well, we got to keep the good messaging out in front of them. We got to reinforce it. You can't just teach it and then take your hands off of them and hope they remember. I said, how do I keep it out in front? You know what? What if I get a billboard? What if I get one billboard? Let me go see how much that costs. They told me billboards cost about $500 a week. I have 24 billboards that's been up for over a year. Remember what I told you about that money thing? You don't need it. You don't need it. Because what I said to the people that owns this billboard company, I said, what if you and I partnered? I said, and let me tell you why I would be a great partner. I said, because you sell billboards to anybody saying anything you want them to say. I said, because you all are making sales. I get it. I said, because I see billboards up all the time that said that there's a gun show in St. Charles and you all have the dates of where they can go and buy guns. Did you know that St. Louis is the #1 murder capital? I said, I don't think we really need to have billboards telling people where to go buy more guns. I said, that kind of sounds like if I'm in the gym trying to lose weight and I come out and I see a sign that says Taco Bell is having a sale. I don't think that's anything I need to know. I said, so can you help me help everybody else? If you're going to sell them and let their billboards be up, would you partner with me so I can put a positive message up and maybe we can balance some of this out? And
Wow.
because I called them out on it, and I gave them a good reason to do something good, good trouble.
What
They
a
said
great
yes.
story, Marty.
They
Good
said
golly.
yes. So I had to pay just a fraction of what it would have cost for that to go up through this partnership. And I still have billboards up right now, and it's been almost 2 years.
Wow.
Now, not all 24. They took a whole lot of them down, but that's okay because those went up the way that they did and people still see that messaging. So can you imagine if one day I ever get a grant and I just keep this messaging up all throughout our city, what it could do? Can you imagine if someone ever just said, let me send Marty $20,000 and I just and we're able to save lives. I'd rather for $20,000 to go on billboards and I'm keeping this positive messaging out front and make them think this way than to put $20,000 on them when they're in jail and we're feeding them trash. Because it costs taxpayers money when we send somebody to jail.
Right.
So let's start putting the money towards something that really does work and it makes us better humans because none of us are healed until everybody's healed. We're all at risk. Because bullets don't have anybody's name on it. And bombs truly don't. So the quicker we can change the heart of man, we can change the head of man, and then we can change the hand of man.
Love that.
So that's those billboards went up. And now, after I've been in the schools, again, remember I told you I'm very intentional. I'm playing chess. Okay, I did that move, this move. Now what's next? Well, when I was in the schools, I realized the children weren't the problem. Who knew? It's not the kids. Who's the problem? Who wants to guess? Who's the problem?
Speaking as a former high school, public school teacher, the school system.
Let me tell you something. If I had a gift to give you, you got that right. You got it right.
Dr. Marty, I resigned my tenure when our goals were not the same. And my kids were doing better because I was teaching them a group-based class back in the 70s. And my administration didn't care. I had kids from the inner city who were learning better. Their grades went up in all their classes after they took my awareness class. And the administration didn't want to keep it going. So I left.
Sad.
Wow.
Extremely sad.
They lost a jewel, and I know that. And I wish they would have known that. They lost a jewel. And the people that really suffered by you leaving is the children. We want to blame the children. We want to say the children, oh gosh, the kids today. I said, well, if you're going to say the kids today, well, you need to start with what you was yesterday. What did you do yesterday to make the kids better today? Okay. Or what did you not do? Where did you drop the ball? So after being on the inside and I realized it's not the kids, Marty, all right, this is the move you made. You're inside working with the kids. Then you made this move on the board. You put up the billboards, that's working. But now how do you impact the school's system? I then put it all in curriculum so that I can go in and I could train the trainers. And who am I going to be training? I'm training the administrators so that the counselors and the social workers will then impact the teachers, and then the teachers impact the children. The children go home and infect the parents, and then the parents come back out in the community where they'll see the billboard. And everybody will remember to stop, breathe, think before you just react emotionally. But you stop, breathe, and think so you can make better choices and respond. And now you can play the video.
As the country watched what happened unfold in Georgia, we are following a local school district's new efforts to address gun violence. Our Melanie Johnson explains how they are starting this conversation with students.
When do you all brush your teeth in the morning?
Young minds ready to learn at Woodland Elementary in Jennings.
I have been teaching 44 years.
Their potential enough to bring Dr. Shirley Reynolds out of retirement.
We are here to protect the kids first, and then to educate them second. And so we have to bring everybody in that will make that difference.
To make the difference in Jennings schools, the district overwhelmed by student violence within the past school year.
The need is different.
Made a move it's never done to stop the bleeding before it's too late.
We chose UnGUN. UnGUN did not choose us. Stop, breathe, think.
Phoning in outside help and Dr. Marty Casey, founder of the UnGUN Institute, to clean out the traumas and triggers starting from the top.
Trauma has no race, space, or place. None. It can show up anywhere at any time. When you see people changing literally in front of your eyes, it speaks volumes.
Jennings school counselor Kay Gage was required to take Casey's 3-day training along with the rest of the staff.
We're getting something that's not just a program, it's becoming a way of life for the district.
Now that phase 1 is complete, this historical approach with UnGUN will eventually include students, parents, and eventually the entire community.
2 things in the world that we can do that we cannot take back, and they happen to be bullets and our words.
Dr. Reynolds, who has spent 4 decades as an educator, says UnGUN's methods teaches a generation used to seeing loss of life.
Ungunning their heart and ungunning their head and ungunning their hand.
St. Louis County's health department helping with the mission by giving the program a hub so they can pour back into the youth.
Just having that person who knows firsthand on how to deal with trauma and how to what's called ungun people would have saved many of lives.
All phases of the program is expected to be implemented by the end of the school year.
It is just like a masterpiece to me.
In North County, Melanie Johnson, First Alert 4.
And the UnGUN Institute welcomes other school districts across the region to sign up for the trauma training. For more information on that, you can visit this story on the First Alert 4 News app.
And there you have it.
Dr. Marty, I wish that you had been at Lexington High School when I was there in the 70s. We could have done amazing things.
Well, I don't know. I was born in 71. I probably would have came and just,
I know.
I probably only would have known my ABCs.
She might even been in
I don't
diapers.
know. I think you would have been doing it back then, too. Anyway, thank you. That
No,
was so moving.
thank you.
That's amazing. Has it been accepted by more schools now? Or
Yes. Well, this just took place. This just took place right before I actually left to go. Really, we went to Japan in September. That just happened in August.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well, it's going to catch fire.
It's not too late. Anybody wants to get that video, send it out, send it to parents and say, hey, guys, we're willing to go and do the training anywhere. So wherever there are kids, wherever there's parents, wherever there's schools, wherever there's a school system, we can go and do that 3-day training and really truly make the difference. So now that I'm back from traveling here, because I just got back from Washington, D.C. last weekend to do a domestic violence piece. And so UnGUN Institute, let me just say this, the 4 pillars that we deal with is domestic violence, suicide prevention, gun violence, and bullying. Those are our like 4 key pillars. And we believe in give, forgive, heal, live.
Say that one more time, please, Marty.
Give, Give, forgive, heal, live. Those are the 4 phases that when we come and teach you the UnGUN method, those are the 4 phases that you would actually be moving through. And in that order. In order to activate the method, you have to give something first. And most things that we can give that is not money related is grace. Give yourself grace so you can give others grace. Forgive yourself so you can then forgive others. Heal yourself so you can impact others to heal. And then live your best life so you can invite others to live theirs.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Marty, I want to say we have a guest with us, and she says, Marty, check out Wayfarer Foundation for grant funding.
Okay, well, let me write that.
Wayfarer Foundation for grant funding. Thank you, Sue.
Thank you, Sue.
And
anybody knows a really good grant writer, I would be interested to knowing that. I was talking to, and I'm gonna just kind of put my roomie on the spot. Becky is so awesome and amazing in so many spaces and the things that she does. And she hasn't, I don't believe, seen this video until probably right now. And I'm saying that to say, even after spending, that intimate time in Japan with Becky, I'm like, Becky, I need you to be a part of UnGUN. And so I hope, Rumi, no pressure, no pressure, no pressure, but I hope that you can see exactly how and what I would want you to come in and do, and through ways of grants. When we write a grant and we make sure everybody is covered financially, that's how we really have the impact and make the difference. We create what we need. So when Livy we was just speaking about the system, right? Well, that's their system. But what if we built a system that's so sustainable that not only does it empower us to do the right thing, to get into good trouble or turn bad trouble into better trouble, right? What if we did that and we made sure that those involved wouldn't want for anything financially, their needs are met? Like, I want to create jobs that people run to because they know they're so impactful in saving lives. I tell people all the time at UnGUN Institute, we don't count deaths, we count lives. I don't know anybody that's going around counting all of the grave stones in the graveyard, except for the people that work there. Want to make sure nobody's missing. But other than that, nobody's going around and counting the headstones, right?
Right.
But we are accountable for each other. We count each other all the time on the bus. And is everybody here? Is everybody who's missing today? And we count that. Even right now, as we're on Zoom, we're counting in the participants. We got 13 people on here right now, right? We count up. We need to learn to count lives, because that's when it counts. There's absolutely nothing I can expect out of you or do for you once you're gone. But while you're living, I can impact and empower and support and elevate you. And if we really looked at life like that, we would stop wasting it and doing things to hurt and harm each other. It's value over violence. Please write that down. That's the UnGUN way. Value over violence. What Noreen and what Ramel is doing in the Peace Cafe, it's value over violence. These children are seeing grown adults fight and kill each other because they don't have the same belief systems. Because I'm Muslim, and because you're this and I'm that, we're going to fight in the street and kill each other. And these children have to go and walk past deceased bodies sometimes just to get to safe place. That's not life. And when we put our resources, because it's not just money, but money is a resource. When we put the resources behind those who are really doing the work, that's where we create the impact. We throw away money on foolish things. How many of us got too many pairs of shoes and too many pocketbooks and a 16 bedroom home, and you can only sleep in one bed at a time, but we got all of this excessive stuff. Instead of saying, wow, maybe I can pull back on that, because I really want to make sure that the Peace Cafe is able to feed those children a snack when they finally made it there to a safe place. Because when I think of safety, I think of mental safety. Because I know if I can keep you mentally safe, then I could possibly keep you physically safe. I walked in some of the roughest to toughest neighborhoods all my life. My mom used to smoke cigarettes, and she would give me money and go to the corner store and give me a pack of cigarettes. That's okay. But that's what we did as children. We did whatever our parents told us to do. And I'd be walking past men on the corner, and they're drinking, and hey, how you doing? And I'd be so fearful. And I remember, and I told my mama, I don't like going to the corner store and getting your cigarettes. I'm scared. I remember saying that. And my mother said to me, it's not a drunk that you have to worry about as much as it is a drug addict. She said, a drunk will probably look out for you, but a drug addict, they're only going to look out for themselves, because their bodies is craving to get high. And they don't care who they hurt or harm to do something to you. So my mom says, Marty, as long as you don't show fear, they won't bother you. I learned that as a little girl. So when I walk past people now, even when I see that it seems a little, and something's on the inside of me is tingling a little bit, this is what I do. Hey, how you doing? You good? Because I let them know I see you, and I see you seeing me. That's that wisdom that I had to learn from a little girl walking to get a pack of cigarettes for my mom. Today, I don't smoke, never have smoked, never have gotten high. I don't drink. And it doesn't make it, I'm not saying these things to tell you like I'm somebody special, no. But I chose not to do those things because I still have such bad, horrible stories around those things. So it made me a better person. So when I tell you that those are some of the things I experienced, don't feel sorry for me. Don't think that my mom's a bad mom, none of the above. It's just the fact that I went through some of those things, and versus me leaving it on the story, I flipped it over so I could tell you something different. It made me a better person today. So anyway, any more questions before we wrap this up?
You can unmute yourself if you want and ask a question, or
come on, somebody.
Or otherwise, you're just completely mesmerized like I am, and you're just like in this zone of the Marty zone, and just completely not overwhelmed, but just completely inspired, Marty, and just ingenious how you've used, I love how you flipped everything in your life and how you're using that to share it with so many. And I love the chess. I was never good at chess, darn it.
But you know what? Not just me, but the women in this book. I have to go back to this book because I want to give you an example, because when I tell you, it's more people than you realize that have done the exact same thing of what I'm talking about. These women, their stories are so powerful.
Marty, can I ask you, are they Black women, or is it?
No, no, we have Hispanic, white, Black, everybody. These are just powerful, diverse women. We made sure of that. Rebecca, now that's me and Rebecca. Can you see that? Yeah, that's Rebecca. Rebecca is my mother's age, and Rebecca is white. And Rebecca and I have been friends. And she came to me and she says, Dr. Marty, I just wish it was something that, no, I came to her and I said, Rebecca, I said, it would be great if there was something we could do after Ferguson to really, I said, I feel like we've gained a lot, but we're not there yet. There's still, St. Louis is still a place where there's the division is just built in. I said, what can we do as Black and a white woman to bring the divide closer together? And she says, maybe we could do a book or something, do a compilation, an anthology. I was like, yes. I said, now, if we do that, we got to make sure that it is diverse. I said, I don't want all Black, I don't want all white. I said, I want us to have diverse women so that as these stories go out, everybody can enjoy them and get something out of it. So we were very, very, and at first I wanted to pull women in from all over, the country and the globe. And she was like, well, Marty, I don't know that many people all outside of those spaces like you do. And I said, okay, well, then we'll use St. Louis women. So these are all women from St. Louis, but their stories are so global. There's no such thing as a zip code to a story. Your story travels wherever you take it. But there's one particular story in here, Jamie Myers and I'm just want to just share this. All of these women are fabulous.
Maybe we could close with that one. What do you think, Marty?
That'd be great. That'd be great. So I just want to just tell you that Jamie, where is she at in here? Jamie, where are you? Her story, Jamie Mowers, is called A Legacy of Love, Turning the Unthinkable into the Unstoppable. Jamie's father was murdered by her aunt, her mother's twin sister. How in the world could Jamie get to a place of forgiving? Jamie's white. Her father was in the service. Great man. She was daddy's girl. Just everything. When you read this story, I don't even want to tell you too much more about it, but when I tell you, she has such a powerful story of forgiveness and resilience like no other. When you think you've gone through something and you see trauma come in and just like a piece of paper and rip down the middle, your aunt, your mom's twin sister kills your dad, the unthinkable then becomes the unstoppable. So I just want to kind of give you that as an example of the power and the wisdom that's inside this book. It is the #1 bestseller internationally and nationally, and it is within reason. Even if my chapter wasn't in there, if I wasn't even one of the co-authors of this, I would have been very upset if a book like this existed and nobody told me about it. So I just want to just tell you, get your copy, get it, share it. Christmas, you put it in give it to somebody that's going through something and you just don't have the words or maybe even the strength to keep trying to figure out what to say to them. I guarantee you something in here that'll help them. Put a big red bow on it and tell them it's from Dr. Marty with love. All right, everybody. It's been awesome and amazing. Thank you all for taking your time out to be with me this evening. Thank you to the co-creators, Convergence, for having me on here again. Bob and Noel, you all are, you are the bees. I was about to say the bees meow. You're the cat's meow and the bees honey. That's what you are.
Oh, go on.
Thank you,
Marty, it's been too long, sister. We need to have you back, and I think when you were talking about doing that healing, that'd be fabulous. We
will come in and do that eight intention, that 8 circle intention. It works, and I would be more than happy to come in and lend a hand.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for being here, and it's just been amazing. I hate to use such a dull word for what's happened here tonight, but thank you, everyone. Dr. Marty, you just knocked our socks off. And so I hope all the people who are on here that said, well, I wonder if she's going to live up to the hype Noel gave. Well, I hope you're satisfied.
Who was that? That was Nancy. Nancy, real quick, you take us out. What did you think?
I thought you were amazing, and there's so many nuggets that you shared this evening that I can bring back to my own family situation, to my husband's family situation, and I'm planning on learning more about you, lady. Thank you.
Thank you. The pleasure is all mine. And just so you all know, through my UnGUN method, we do individual healing trainings. I also work with families, and we work with communities, as you saw a video. So with businesses and schools or what have you. So it's what we're tailored to meet you where you are, and whatever it is that you need. That's why it's that UnGUN, it's that you. It's all about you. What do you need? Sometimes it's you needing something personally, and sometimes it's something that's going on in a family. But do understand that you can't fix community until you fix yourself. And a lot of us, we show up and we do this work and we show up, capes on and all of that. And I just realized that that's one of the things that we share with the administrators of the schools or what have you, that it starts with you. So when I go in to do the training with them, guess who I start with? I start with them personally. I got to get down to the bottom line of what's happening with them personally. Because when they go to work, they show up with that stuff on them. And then that causes them to react and, respond to the children and the rest of the staff in a certain way. And they don't realize, because all they're thinking about is, I'm the principal. Well, I'm the social worker, or I'm the counselor. But it's not about who you believe you are. It's about really how you're showing up and how you're treating others. So anyway, that's it. That's all. Thank you. I love you. And good night.
Love you. And we always end with, may peace prevail
Peace prevail on earth.
May peace
prevail on earth.